And I'm like, no, guys, like, what did we love? Tell me how you felt. Even if you didn't like it, tell me how you felt. Don't just sit there and give me a one-line review, which is a joke about how crap the extra was, or how, like, tell me what you felt, And like, I think if we did that, then I think if we do more of that, and there are people doing that, yourselves included, myself included, I like to think, like, I think if we do that, then we're going to be encouraging people to watch films more,
100%, man, what you just said. Because it's like, if you make a short film, even try and make a 2-minute or 3-minute film, that's really hard to do. Like, anyone can shit on a film, but the amount of effort and all of the different skilled artists behind the scenes.
Every movie is a miracle,
That's beautiful, man. That should be a t-shirt, dude.
Every movie is a miracle.
I don't think that. I'm pretty sure I've read that somewhere, but like, if let's just edit this to make it seem like I just literally on the spot came up with every movie is a miracle.
Special guest episode.
Today we have a high-octane guest, Rhys from South Wales, bringing the energy. You'll know this movie reviewer on Instagram by RVW Movies, Review Movies. We cover a lot of ground on today's conversation, from Hamnet to Hereditary, the Top Gun debate, our accents, and how to find the positives in most movies with our reviews. So get ready. Here comes Rhys. Today we have Rhys with us today. Rhys is someone that you'll definitely know from social media because he's been on my feed for months and months and months and months, if not even longer. And I'll let Rhys introduce himself, but would you just pronounce your page as Review Movies or RVW Movies specifically?
It is RVW Movies, but it is just review without the vowels. That's the way to remember it. But yeah,
so it is the Welsh thing. You've removed the vowels.
I just want to get rid of all the vowels. I'm quite anti-vowels.
Yeah, like your name.
Keep those vowels away. I'm trying to cut down on vowels.
I'd be a strange countdown contestant.
And for people listening at home, if you're not sure what we're on about, Rhys's name is not R-E-E-S, it's R-H-Y-S. So, yeah.
No vowels, not one vowel. Sorry, I
like your backdrop there. You got Space Odyssey there behind you. And Kill Bill.
2001.
The Kill Bill is a very recent addition because like every video that I do is just in front of my green screen, which is right there. But that's like kind of a boring backdrop for a podcast or a video or something like this. So this was up anyway, but the Kill Bill and this guy here were added just to make it seem like I always have a backdrop. So maybe edit that.
Is that Simba?
Is
that Simba behind him?
Yeah. He's like, I've had him since I was a kid, so I thought, it was quite fitting that he'd be here with me today, and also for the colours.
Should we guess the helmet? Is that from 300 or something?
No, it's a little bit more recent than that, actually. Like, so we've got Simba here, who I've had since I was a kid. So I don't want to reveal how old he is, but he's a little bit old. And then this is the popcorn bucket from Project Hail Mary. So like we've got this guy like literally decades old, and this guy who is literally months old. So a nice little,
I like that.
Yeah,
duality of time. Well, nice paradox, I guess.
Kismet.
Instead of Tenet, when they do that in Tenet, this is the new thing now.
Yeah.
This is the new thing.
Where Tenet went wrong. That's where Tenet went wrong.
Yes. Yeah, it should have been Kismet instead of Tenet. Anyway.
Yeah. Christopher Nolan, if you're watching, I'm pretty sure
what you're on about anymore now.
Yeah. Christopher, if you're watching, yes. Rhys and I have some ideas for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you want to introduce yourself, Rhys? Because your 3-minute reviews, I'd class them as quite famous. I think everyone kind of knows about you. But yeah, do you want to explain yourself? What got you into this and etc.?
That's nice to hear. I mean, like, here we are collaborating, so I must have done something right. So I'm Rhys, or if you prefer, Rhys-ET. There is one vowel in Rhys-ET, so there's one there. So basically, RVW Movies is the home of 3-minute movie media, which is a hand signal I don't really do so much anymore because I kind of realized that 3 minutes is not a lot of time to talk, so I don't want to put myself in there. But it's just 3 minutes on usually a movie review. I'm starting to expand a little bit into rankings lists. I've done some interviews recently and some festival appearances. But yeah, it's just 3 minutes at a time, non-stop, one take, thoughts on a film, thoughts on a festival, thoughts on multiple films, we'll see. But yeah, that's the gist. And like I said, it's RVW, which is a review without the movie. So I'm a little bit conflicted about moving to things which are not reviews. I'm thinking, do I have to change the name of the channel? But I'm not going to be doing that. But yeah, that's RVW in a nutshell. A 3-minute movie media, reviews, festivals, and opinion. And there's a cat. not on RVW.
Sorry, yeah, my cat.
Yeah.
Simba is kind of a cat, but yeah, a cat.
Yeah,
in
we've
the
both got one. Yeah, my cat will occasionally walk in front of the screen occasionally because she can't sit still. So apologies.
I tell my cat that everything the light touches is its kingdom because they pretty much own the house. So
yeah. They don't really need that.
That's a true story.
Themselves, right? So
my cat the other day jumped up on the hob whilst I was cooking. I was like, no! She's never done that before. But anyway, to go back to Rhys, because he's our guest and Stanley, my cat, is not, is that that's one of the things that's really entertaining about your reviews is that the speed. Who's binging? Someone's binging.
Yeah, that's me.
I'm not that popular, man. That's Rhys.
I thought Drew was binging.
There we go.
It's all the other podcasts that want him. They're like, dude, when are you coming on our podcast, man?
Yeah, like when you.
It's just got all these interviews coming through.
Because that's it. Like Drew's done a couple, and I've done a few as well. Like these reviews, and you have to think about your thoughts. And I like to do them straight after I've seen the film. Otherwise, I never bother doing them because if it's not your fresh thoughts, or even if like yourself, you might have to collate and write a script potentially. I don't know how you do it, but you think of things I have to cut, and you have to do it like 10 times. But with yourself. Like the speed of it's really entertaining because 3 minutes, I know it's short, but it's a lot for people to watch, isn't it? So you set, rather than just yabbering on and you don't know how long it's going to be, you go 3 minutes, pay attention, blah, 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 go straight into it. So people know they get themselves into it.
Like 3 minutes coming like this to try and grab attention. Like we all know that we need the hook, don't we, on social media? Yeah, I do follow a script. Which is a bit of a nightmare sometimes because as soon as you lose your train of thought or lose your place, like it's an entire restart. Like every single video, there's like a minimum of 4 takes, and most of the retakes are I've forgotten one word, and then the entire thing falls apart. But I know what you mean about like needing to write it as soon as possible because like the amount of times I'm watching something and I'm in the theater and I think of something, I'm like, remember that for later, and the film ends and I'm like, that was gold. And I was just gone forever. So, getting them possible is the most important part of it,
Do you?
Sorry. Go on.
I was going to say, do you have a teleprompter then? Because like Kev taught me, there's like a cool little teleprompter bit that's like built in now.
Yeah, I do use a teleprompter. I hate admitting that. I always like rehearse it a bunch of times in advance, so I've got as much of it in my brain as possible because like I don't want to be looking off camera to something just above, But the teleprompter is there just to make sure that everything does get locked in.
Oh no! I mean, you can get it on your screen, dude. Like, because this is what Kev was telling me. There's a new thing, right, where it's.
No, I think that's what he means, but you're still not looking at the camera. You're looking at the other part.
Oh, yeah.
So your eye line's off.
Yeah.
Fair.
Because I've only used it. I think I've used it twice because, I don't know if you do the same. Like, literally, when the credits come up, if there's no post credits, I go into my notes or email and just write the few things that I remembered during the film and email myself. So when I go home, I can have a little look at it.
Yeah, I experimented with like writing notes during the film, but like obviously it's pitch black in there, so my handwriting is dreadful when I can see what I'm doing. But when I'm doing it in the dark, sometimes I look at it and I'm like, yeah, there's no chance for this. I need to be like that woman from High Fidelity with the little pen with the light on top, but I haven't found that.
Dictaphone.
What a film to reference there. That film is incredible.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of High Fidelity and the TV show as well, which I think didn't get a very fair shake. I thought it was a lot better than one season,
Yeah, I didn't watch it for ages because I thought it was almost blasphemy putting a TV show about such an amazing film and not having original characters. So I didn't bother watching it. And it was like a year later I put it on. I was like, I missed out. This is great. I should have watched this when it first came out. but I was against it at first. And I think that might be why it flopped, because I think people hold that film in such esteem, maybe.
Yeah, and the book as well, you know?
I might I might lower the tone here, but I was going to think of another thing with like taking notes. Is in Harry Potter, there's that really nasty character that she has a thought, and the actual notepad is floating in the air, and it scratches on.
Yeah.
That would be awesome if you had that ability, Rhys, in a cinema, just to be making notes, like telekinesis. What is that word?
Telekinesis, maybe? I don't know.
Telekinesis. Yeah, we'll do it, man. We'll do it.
They'd probably make you like buy a ticket for your floating notepad as well, though, wouldn't they? So you could only go to the movies on like what do they call it? Meerkat movies, and you can go 2 for 1 and get the free ticket for your notepad.
And that notepad counts as your +1. Telekinesis, that was the one, but I like telekinesis. That's much better.
Yeah.
Just a quick message to thank you all for listening to our show, whether it's through Spotify, Apple, or YouTube. If you are enjoying, why not follow, click to subscribe, and leave a 5-star review. Also, a reminder to follow us on Instagram and TikTok for fun clips from the show. We love and appreciate your support, and thanks for sharing us with friends. This helps us to grow, improve, and continue creating. Now, back to the conversation.
We spoke about Rhys's pieces in our last episode a lot. That's just a random connection there.
Oh, wow.
Really?
I'm actually, controversially, not a massive fan of Rhys's pieces. It's not like a competition thing. It's not that I'm like, no, I'm the original Rhys, because I definitely think they've been longer than I have. But I just don't really like peanut butter. So there's been quite a few things in my life where people have just assumed that I'm a big Rhys's pieces guy, and I'm like, no, surprisingly not.
And
too many vowels.
You're just a big piece of Rhys.
I am one big piece of Rhys. That is true, yeah.
Or I was going to say, if you were in a Terrifier film, then you could be Rhys's pieces if you were one of the characters that gets chopped up.
Yeah, you almost lost because you started mentioning Terrifier, and I've actually never seen it, so I was like, really hope that this reference sticks, and actually it was just...
it was just the idea of if you got chopped up into pieces. It was quite dark, but like it was funny in regards to the chocolate. But yeah,
no, I want to say I enjoyed it, but I don't know if I should say that I enjoyed the visual of myself.
No, we want you in one piece. You're wonderful in one piece. We don't want you in pieces. So
Terrifier does come up occasionally. I'd definitely watch it. I'd suggest you do watch it. It is worth seeing.
I'm a real big I'm not a snob, but like I try and watch everything in theaters. Like if I were to if Letterboxd were to do a thing where they give you a percentage of how much you watch at home and how much you watch in the cinema, mine would be like at least 90% cinema. I'm cinema first on everything. So like I wanted to watch Terrifier 3 last year because obviously that one did get a wide cinema release, but I just never seen it, and I didn't get around to it in advance. So I'm also not really a massive horror guy, which I'm gonna stand here and say because it's not because I'm afraid of horror, but you know we all like ourselves a little bit, don't we?
Well, to be fair to you, a lot of horror is terrible. Like good horror is amazing, but as a genre, it's the biggest dichotomy of awful and greatness.
Yeah, I think for that reason, it's like I find it's the one genre where like it's the easiest to sort of like look behind the curtain sort of thing. Like you can see that I just find that the immersion and the escapism in horror isn't there if, like you said, it's not a particularly good one. If it is, then I was actually talking to someone on Instagram recently about Hereditary and how like that is my favorite horror film. And like I was so terrified in that movie. I sat down at the start of the film. I took a sip from a bottle of water. I put it in my cup holder. I sat like this, and like 2+ hours later, I was still sat like this because I just couldn't move for the entire film because I was that terrified. So, you know, when done well, I do love horror. Just generally speaking, you know.
Yeah,
but it's like one of those films like that. There's not an obvious horror. It's like a thriller and a drama and storyline that's gripping, and then suddenly bad things go extreme. You go, oh shit, it is a horror. It's not just intense drama.
But it's also psychological as well, because like elements are kind of orchestrated and planned out, because those little kind of the little doll houses, and then you're like, wait a minute, that's happening in real life. It's almost like there's a premonition connected to the dollhouse of the events that are unfolding. You're like, what?
Yeah, like that film, I saw it, like I said, I saw it in theatre and I loved it, and I watched it again at home. And then this was during lockdown. I just one night, I just couldn't sleep because we all know what lockdown was like. I just found myself like on a real Hereditary rabbit hole online, and I found this video on YouTube that showed like at the very end when the scene literally goes from like night to day like that, all of the cult members are stood around the house like completely stark naked, and I'm like, I've watched this film twice. Once on the big screen, I never noticed that, and like it just gave me chills all over again because like that had been there the entire time, and I just never known it, you know, and that kind of thing really freaks me out.
Naked people in a room just around.
Yeah, if there are naked people in a room, I want to know that they're there, you know. I don't.
Instead of going surprise.
Yeah. So you know, just for future reference.
And it's even scary if they're just there eating Rhys's pieces. Just looking.
Yeah. That's what it is. I'm just blind to it because of the Reese's Pieces thing, and then I'm like, oh, you're naked. There are your pieces as well, you know.
Like you can't even hide those Reese's Pieces because you've got no clothes on. You can't put them in your pockets. Like, what are you doing? Get out of my room.
I don't really want to know where, you know.
That was a bit of a tangent there. Thanks for not lowering the tone, Drew.
Sorry.
You know, usable.
Can we just say though, jumping back real quick to Hereditary, can we just say that I think Toni Collette was absolutely robbed of a nomination there. That monologue at the table. I mean, her performance all the way through it, but that monologue at the table.
Yeah, and like the physicality of it as well. Like I know massive spoiler alert coming up for anyone who hasn't seen Hereditary, but the scene where she's like in the corner of the room, I know she didn't actually do that, but like obviously there's still a physical element to that performance. And like the scene you referenced then is very physical because she's like snarling and she's like almost in the camera, you know.
But,
like the level of physicality she had to bring to that role, as well as the emotional weight of it, is insane.
Yeah.
So I don't remember who got nominated that year. But like this is the thing with the Oscars. I love the Oscars, but every year it's a bit like I wish we could have swapped that person out for this person, you know?
Yeah, man, 100%. Didn't at one point doesn't she get set on fire?
I
mean, I'm sure obviously it might have been a stunt person. They're not going to be like, Tony, can we just set you on fire briefly for this shot? You're like, what? Like,
he's like, yeah, we'll do that, and that'll get me the Oscar. No, it's
set me on fire, man. I'm more likely to get an Oscar that way. That'll be.
Well, I mean, like it's actually the husband who gets set on fire.
Oh yeah, Gabriel Burns, which is ironic because the fire.
Yeah. But maybe if she had set herself alight, she would have won the Oscar.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't blame her for not setting herself on fire. You know,
100%.
I don't think. I'm not.
Like Toni Collette, I think's been underrated for so long. You know, like from way back from like About a Boy, her performance in that, even though as a supporting character, was incredible. Everything she's in, I think she elevates. Even like Mickey 17, when she's in it for a brief bit, when she appears, you're like, safe hands.
Yeah.
And very much those performers who like, I didn't know that she was Australian for years. It's just one of those things where you just assume, that she's like American, or I'm pretty sure she's done like British roles as well. I'm not saying like accent work is everything when it comes to acting, but like, you know, it goes to show when you can find something like that out about an actor or an actress and think to yourself, whoa, you know, I just took it for granted that like you were American or whatever, you know.
Well, I'm not very good at accent, as in like I think sometimes I have accent blindness. Like I can hear someone speak and go, not sure where you're from. And I did that to you, Rhys, because I messaged you and I was just trying to work out. It's the worst thing. When I message anyone to be a guest, I always ask, well, what time zone are you in? Because just because it's someone British or London sounding, they could be living in, you know, somewhere in Europe. You know, I don't know where they actually live. And someone American could actually be living in London. You know, we've had that before.
It's polite.
But I asked you and you went, Wales. I'm like,
yeah.
It took me a second to go, oh, it's a Welsh accent. Because because I saw stuff on your page like with Toronto and American. I was like, it's some sort of Canadian. So I was focused on Canada. I was like, doesn't sound, something's not right there.
I get Canadian quite a lot because I do love Canada. But like, it's just one of those things where like when I was younger, I've always sort of masked my accent because I just remember hearing like, you know, I'm doing basically what it is. It's like a whole, like for most of my life, I've had like some sort of dissociation where I'm from. It's like, I wish I was from Canada. I wish I was from North America. So especially when I was younger, I started to mask my accent quite a lot. And it's only been in probably the last like 5 years or so that I've started to come around to the idea of what my nationality actually is. And the one thing about RVW, which has helped with that, is that like, for anyone who might not be familiar with the way Welsh people talk is very much like such a rapid accent, you know. So it has actually helped me quite a bit to tap into like my latent Welsh accent just to fill up those 3 minutes or to get through them as quickly as possible. So it's just been this whole like dichotomy between like this is something that I want to explore creatively, but it's also tied into, you know, me as a person, you know. So RVW in a sense, even though I've done stuff in Canada and I want to do some stuff in America coming up later this year, it's really helped me reconcile with like a lot of my actual identity sort of thing. Not as that's a really lofty thing to say, like, you know, it's just a sort of, it's something that was happening anyway, but RVW has sort of like coalesced with it, you know. And then there are some videos where I'm just like, I sound super Welsh in that video, you know.
But I was going to say, it's like if you were posh, your reviews would be 6 minutes.
Yes, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Really be in those things.
My name is Rhys. This is
you're
like this is going to be about a 6 minute review.
Vowels and dropping H's and dropping everything left, right, and center, you know.
But I think your energy and your kind of rhythmic, you know, you've got such great energy, and that's what really, yeah.
Thank you. I think they say like it's not the only one, but like they say the Welsh is a land of song. So I think that's another thing that I'm tapping. Not that I can sing, and I'm not going to be proving that one way or the other, but I think natural like musical cadence that comes with being Welsh has really helped with RVW. So
we thought you were going to sing for 3 minutes on this episode for us, or is that not?
I mean, is that the time? You know.
No. But Tom Hardy, what were your thoughts on Tom Hardy's Welsh accent in Locke?
In Locke, that was so I saw that in cinema with my buddy Chris many years ago. And I had very much what you were saying then about like accent blindness and like not being able to place it. We were genuinely like, what is it at first? And then as it went on, we sort of looked at each other like, is this supposed to be Welsh? Because like a lot of people, when they imitate the Welsh accent, it can get a little bit Indian sometimes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, I think he gave it a good try, and he's also like filmed something quite recently in Wales. So I don't know if maybe he felt a debt to us as a nation for the job he did with our accent. But I can't. It was that Netflix thing. Actually, I don't think it was very good. So I don't know how much goodwill he built up with that movie. But basically,
I just thought Tom Hardy kind of gravitas would just bring, you know, a bit more love to the Welsh accent for you. But not if he's making it sound Indian, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that was also back. That was pre. You know, I'm okay with being Welsh, so maybe I was just looking for any opportunity to be like, I hate this, you know.
He's not as Welsh as me because I'm actually Welsh.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really hoping that anyone, like a lot of my followers are obviously from Wales, so I'm really hoping that anyone might watch this is not now going to cast me out, because I promise you guys, I do love where I'm from, and like I'm doing a lot better now, you know. It's just when I was younger, it was a whole like, I mean, it's like that whole thing, isn't it? It's like dress for the job you want, you know, speak for the job you want. I was speaking for the way I wanted to live, I guess.
But that's the thing as well. If you're growing up as a kid, you know, even though you love your identity and stuff, you're watching as a film lover. You're watching, you know, at least 80% American films and American cool people. So as kids, we all put on that American accent, probably badly, but we all probably faked it because we're so obsessed with TV characters or film characters, and there wasn't any Welsh. I'm Scottish, not you can tell, but there wasn't any Scottish people out there unless you're Sean Connery.
Yeah,
you know, that was pretty much it. And the irony is that I can walk to Wales in about 1 minute. I'm on the border. I'm in Chester.
Yeah,
and you're Swansea, aren't you? You're down south.
Just outside Cardiff. So I mean, like, not far from Swansea. Probably like just under an hour from Swansea and just under a half hour from Cardiff. But yeah, Chester is like right there. It's like Liverpool and Chester, isn't it? It's like they're like almost like the unofficial capitals of North Wales, because they're like so super close, and there's not really a big city presence anywhere up in North Wales. So
yeah, that's it. Yeah, we're literally, my parents live in Wales, but they live 3 to 5 minute drive away. That's it. In my cinemas in Wales, I'd literally just go the bottom of my road. The first traffic lights is the border.
No way.
Yeah, so I'm literally on the corner.
You're an international cinema traveler.
Well, that was the thing. When it was COVID, you weren't allowed to go into the other country.
Oh yeah.
Every shop is miles away because I'm on the left hand side of the city, so I would have to go into the city to come out to get to the big shops. but there's a Morrison's literally just there and an Asda literally walking distance. And
Hmm.
legally, I wasn't allowed to go to them, but we did, obviously.
That's crazy.
Yeah, luckily there wasn't any massive, intimidating Welsh Border Patrol service to
Yeah,
push
we
you.
didn't have like ice on the border.
No,
in Chester.
I would have been like breaking that law all the time. There's no way that I could have lived with not going to the cinema. I would have been like, just arrest me if you're going to do it. Like, I'd rather be in prison than like not be able to go to the cinema.
Yeah, well, that was it. You just mentioned Tenant at the beginning. We were talking. That was that was the first film we all
Oh
saw
yeah.
probably in the
Yeah,
cinema.
Wow,
that
dude, it
was
went full circle. Yeah.
like save cinema, wasn't it? But
I
it
thought that was
didn't.
harsh though, man. The pressure put on Nolan of the idea of can he save cinema. I was like, it doesn't help if you don't have a massively intelligent audience. Not to put people down that don't necessarily understand Tenet, and it's not about trying to
But it's
understand
high.
it.
It's highbrow film, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's not
as
for
he even
everyone.
says, you need to feel it. But
Yeah,
the concept is such a mindfuck in itself that it's a hard one to bring people back to the cinema, because if they're like, wait, what? Am I going forwards, backwards?
Do you remember even when the cinema they not even you couldn't book the seats next to each other, but they actually blocked. They put tape over every other seat or something like that, so you physically couldn't. Even if you went in with a partner and you lived in the same house, you still couldn't sit next to each other and stuff like that. Some of them.
crazy. Yeah, I can't, like that's a bit of a not a black hole, but it's one of those things where I'm like I'm trying. It's one of those things like whenever there's any kind of like COVID presence in a film, I'm like I'm going to struggle with this because like it's such like an emotional black spot,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a weird time. But I mean, Tom Cruise, I'd say, if anyone, not Nolan, but Tom Cruise saved cinema.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't love Tenet. Like Tenet was where I sort of started to like fall not out of love with Chris Nolan because I'll still be there opening night for the Odyssey. But like I think this goes to what you were just saying then, Drew. Like it was unfair to expect him to save cinema, quote unquote, because like he just had no idea that was going to happen. Because like the way I think of it is like he had a clear run to best director that year. He's now won it, obviously, and I think like he kind of fumbled the bag a little bit there because he made such a highbrow, such a high concept movie, and like in places even like a bit of an arrogant movie. I found, but like I think if he had known in advance that like he is going to be it for the summer blockbuster, then he probably would have made something not like necessarily Inception, but I think like a whole different set of priorities, and it maybe would have been. But then we ended up getting, like you said, Top Gun Maverick with Tom Cruise, which was like I don't know, like one of the most invigorating and like life affirming cinematic experiences I've ever had, which is strange because it's about something which I have no connection to, which is flying planes.
But
I'm not. I don't
yeah,
know what
but
that's
the
like.
'80s Top Gun was such a huge movie for most people. That's still like, although it's about flying planes, but it's an emotional roller coaster for like, especially for masculinity and stuff like that. Like it's fun to play and it's not all that serious. And then there is serious and there's consequences with Goose and stuff like that. But then the new film, like when that came out, that was extra. Seeing that in the cinema and the fact that Tom Cruise held off and he was like, I'm not putting out when you're telling me to do it. I'll do it when we're ready, when the world is ready. And the second it was ready, boom.
Yeah.
And I think that's the film I've seen in the cinema the most because I saw it, I think, 5 times.
Yeah.
Because I saw it in IMAX twice and it came out of IMAX, so I watched it anyway. And I got my partner to go and see it. And then when I thought I'd done with it for 4 times, they brought out the double feature, Top Gun and Top Gun 2. So I went to both.
Going back to Tenet really quick though, I thought it was quite spooky and eerie though that Nolan almost made it like a cosplay moment because we were all wearing masks. So when the character of the protagonist is wearing a mask, like throughout the majority of it, it felt like we're all with them because we were breathing into our face masks. So we're like, this is immersive, like without even meaning to be.
Experience,
Well, to go to Maverick. Maverick was wearing a mask. He was driving.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
And like I did see Top Gun Maverick last year in 4DX as well. So there's a little, again, we're doing it again. Like we're talking about 4D and, but that was quite something. Yeah. Cause I'm not a massive, like, I've just alienated everyone from Wales. I'm about to alienate a whole other group of people. I don't actually like the original Top Gun. I just think it's that I think like it came out too soon for me. Like it came out before I was born. And then I came to it too late in life. I think if I'd watched it when I was like, in my teens or something, like, or if I'd had like that classic, because my mother loves it. So if I'd watched it with my mother when I was a kid, I'd have that connection. So when Top Gun Maverick came out, I wasn't like super pumped for it, but I ended up taking my very same mother to London for her 50th birthday, and we went to the BFI IMAX as part of that trip to see Top Gun Maverick. So I was like, oh yeah, she'll have a great time. Like, I'm not going to say no to go into the biggest screen in the UK. And then I came out the other side of it, and I was like, holy hell, I can't believe the swing between how much I did not enjoy the first one and how much I did enjoy the second one. I think like within one franchise, it might be the biggest like spectrum, I guess you'd say, between two. But and then that's why I went to rewatch it last year in 4DX, because I was like, it already was such an immersive experience in the theater, not just because of face masks, because face masks were done by then, but just because it actually was a nicely done piece of 4D. So credit to you, Tom Cruise. You actually do know what you're talking about.
Good man.
You went well Canadian there.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. That's why I get Canadians profiled as Canadian sometimes, because it does sneak through a little bit. While I was in Toronto last year, I did experiment a couple of times with because I went solo, so I experimented a couple of times with speaking with a Canadian accent to see if I could sort of like camouflage, and it went pretty well. So either I do a really great Canadian accent, or the stereotype about Canadians being super polite is true, and no one wanted to tell me that I sucked. But
yeah, you did the weird thing where you went, Tom Cruise knows what he's about to do. Was it? What's the Canadian?
It's the way they roll their O's.
Yeah, it's a lot of double.
No, that was it. You went, Tom knows what he's on about.
Yeah. And then there's the classic like throwing a at the end of the sentence, but I feel like that's a bit too obvious. Actually, so it was weird on that trip, because I'd alternate between like trying to mask as Canadian, and sometimes I'd really bring out my natural accent, because like, I don't know if you found this when you've traveled internationally, but sometimes when you're on holiday, people love an accent, and this is probably true for any accent, not just like British accents. So every now and then I would. But when I was on the plane on the way out, it was a morning flight, so they served breakfast, and it was an Air Canada flight, and the hostesses were all Canadian. So she served me some coffee, and she's like, "Would you like some milk?" And I went, "Yeah, just a bit." And she was like, "What?" And I was like, a dash. And she was like, "Oh."
It's weird. It's still obvious to understand what that means, but people just don't get it, do they? Because it's a different terminology.
No. Yeah.
But when I go abroad, Drew, I was going to say, Drew will contest this, because me and Drew used to do this. I took Drew to Scotland to see my family once, when we were just like, what, mid-20s or something, early 20s. Just went for a holiday, for a free trip. And we went to Glasgow for drinks. And then on the way back, there was it was like a rugby game or something. It was like Scotland v England, and Scotland won. And there was like proper aggressive Scottish people, like big groups of them singing anti-English songs. And I'm like, I am Scottish, but I don't sound it. And I'm like, Drew, we can't be English. And Drew's an actor, so he's really good. So he put on this Irish accent, and I mimicked him. And I did a passable Irish, which was better than my Scottish.
Probably.
And we managed to just get past it. But if ever, I'm about to go abroad again shortly. But last time, I remember when I was in Las Vegas, this is when I was like 21, long time ago. And we were walking up to these people that was proper cliche people with those cars that bounce, like in hip hop videos. And really tall black guys that would just look so intimidating standing around the place we're going to get a drink from. And they're like, had a go at us, like, "What's up, boys?" Because it was like a group of blokes. It was like, and they heard the accents, like, "Where are you from?" And I was like, "Scotland." And they're like, "Oh my God, you're Scottish!" They're like, they were so excited, like, because I wasn't English, because they don't. England's not well liked in the rest of the world. I don't think we're not.
Yeah.
Whereas America's not very well liked anymore. Whereas English should be that way.
Yeah. When I landed in Toronto the first time, so there's a London in Canada, and we landed, and I was actually quite taken aback, because like, as we were waiting for our baggage, the security guards would walk around, and they've got the big guns, and I'm like, where are we? I thought we were. I didn't realize. I just you just don't think of guns when you think of Canada, but I guess it's airport security. It's the same in like Heathrow, Anyway, these guys came up to me and my partner at the time with the guns, and they're like, "How's it going?" And I'm like, "Yeah, all good." And they were like, "Where have you just come from?" And I said, "London." And they were like, "Oh." And I went, "London, England, not London, Ontario." and it got a massive laugh from it. And it really broke the tension, which was good. So there's nothing quite like making a big, massive dude with a massive gun laugh to really, break the tension.
That's all you need to do.
I thought they were going to come over and be like, "Are you Jacob Elordi?"
I've never been asked that
Like,
question.
he looks a bit like Jacob Elordi right now. A
I can
Welsh
see
Jacob
you,
Elordi.
yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Well, we can't see his height. He might be 4'3", but
Yeah, actually, like, on the ground right now. There's a whole lot of.
He's just kneeling right now. That's all
I've
he is.
never been Jacob Elordi before. I tell you who I get a lot, and I don't know if you can see it right now because my hair's a little bit longer. I get Liam Gallagher all the time. Really, like,
maybe.
yeah,
Okay.
like it's got a fresh haircut. It's a bit uncanny. I was in Cardiff a couple of years ago to see the Foo Fighters, and we were walking around, and I had like shorter hair and the sunglasses on, and some guy who was a club rep stopped me, and he was like, Liam, like he was addressing. It happens a lot. Like this, it happened to me in work once before as well. Like some guy just addressing me as Liam because he made the joke that I look like Liam Gallagher, and then I'm like, oh, that's not my name. Okay,
That's awesome though. Just dress as Liam just to get past like security. Or, like, just
yeah. Just the whole like look-alike stunt double thing. But Jacob Lordy's a new one. I'm definitely, if there's one thing I'm going to be taking from this call into my real life, is that like, yeah, guys, I look like Jacob Elordi. What's up? Don't quite have the stature though, unfortunately. Like if I was Jacob Elordi, I'd be like up here, right? So
yeah.
so I guess to go into film, since that's what we haven't gone into much detail. Like, what have you seen? Like, what is your kind of, well, especially like this year, because this year started off pretty strong, I think, and last year was one of the best years we've ever had, and this year's looking to be potentially top it. So it's as Drew says, we're eating good. There's good stuff at the moment.
yeah, eating good.
So I just got a picture of Rhys there
There's a
holding
picture
something.
of Jacob Elordi next to Rhys. We can see it.
It's exactly the same.
It's exactly the same.
The reason we can see it is that he's a little bit pixelated at the moment, so he looks exactly like him.
That's why I did it. It's a filter, really, guys.
He's got the Jacob Elordi filter.
Yeah, I'm happy that that's what you showed, and you didn't show like Jacob Elordi as Frankenstein's monster. You're like, look, the resemblance is so uncanny.
Like, what have you been into recently? What's kind of your standout films of the last sort of 6 months or so?
Right now, if I were to do a film of the year list right now, even though it's only April,
Don't say Mario Galaxy.
I mean, I did see Mario Galaxy twice, but necessarily because of any great affinity for that film. No, it would be Hamnet. I adored Hamnet so much. It's really funny because a couple of weeks before I saw Hamnet, I saw Sentimental Value, which I also really enjoyed. And I loved what Sentimental Value did with that whole artists working through grief, artists using like their real life, their past life and everything to create a piece of art. And obviously the end result in Sentimental Value is cinema, which is like my bread and butter. And then I loved that film. And then literally like a fortnight later, I saw Hamnet and was completely blown away by the way that film did it. I was like, obviously, first of all, I was blown away that I connected with it so much more, considering that it was theatre, not cinema. But it's just done, and this is no slight on Sentimental Value, which I love, but like the level of emotional resonance and empathy I felt with Hamlet is insane. Like that movie, I cried 4 times, and 3 of them were like in a row, like 3 scenes in a row, one after the other. So Hamlet is like, I don't really see Hamlet being top this year. I think it's going to take something really special to top Hamlet as my film of the year. And I really think that Chloe Zhao is a really special director. I love Nomadland and The Rider. I actually haven't seen The Eternals, the Marvel film that she did, because I'm not a Marvel guy. But I think she's super special. So I think it'd probably be Hamnet. And then, to shout out, this guy stood behind me, not this guy, this one. I love Project Hail Mary too. I think something very similar might have happened there. If I'd seen Project Hail Mary first, I would have been like, this is the most emotional experience I've had in the cinema this year. And then Hamlet would have blown it out of the water. But that's not to take anything away from Project Hail Mary, which I adored so much. And like, I'm going to drop massive spoilers here again. So I'll give a couple of seconds for people to stop watching if they want to for a couple of seconds. But that midsection of Project Hail Mary, when it looks like one character has died, I was in pieces. I cried so much that like I couldn't even bring myself to like wipe the tears from my face. I just let them sit there and dry on my face because I was like, I can't. I'm so grief stricken right now, you know.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah,
and what you're talking about there, like the films that are coming out later this year, they're not going to compete with that because you're talking about films in a different spectrum to other film. Like, you know, you can't compare Spider-Man with those films. You know, do you know what I mean? Like Hamnet really was special, and me and Drew have talked about it before. But it's a film that you don't expect to like. You just go and see it because you go to the cinema because it's
Mm.
Shakespeare, and that's not that exciting usually. But wow, that was
yeah,
definitely one of my top films. And what's annoying is at the end of the year, when you talk about your films of the year for Americans, that was last year, so it won't
yeah.
be included.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the way it goes. Like here in the UK, we get everything late, you know. But I really liked what they did with the Shakespearean thing in Hamlet as well. Like they drew attention to the fact that like in that end scene, Jessie Buckley's character just doesn't really understand what's being said on stage. She doesn't understand the Shakespearean verse, and like that is exactly, for the vast majority of us, we're exactly the same. Like I went to see the tragedy of Macbeth a couple of years ago with some of my friends who were from Romania, and at the end of the film, one of my friends tapped me on the leg and he said that, like, as a Brit, did you understand any of that? I was like, no, like I don't talk like that, you know. Like, still a beautiful film. Like, this is no slight on Shakespeare because there's Welsh, there's I'm alienating everyone tonight, but like I love Shakespeare. You know, I don't necessarily get it, but I appreciate it. But like it is so difficult. Like it is, again, it's the rhythm of Shakespeare, which is a lot of the appeal for me. But I loved it because like the Hamlet, like 3/4 of the movie is just this emotional experience and like grief and everything, and then for that last 20 minutes, it just becomes a completely different movie, which is talking about genuinely just how art can help you and the people that you love and the people that you know and people you've never even met deal with things which they could not otherwise deal with. And it doesn't matter if you can understand word for word the dictionary definition of what's being said. What's important is that it's being said and that it resonates with you. And just like that was cry number 4 when that happened. I was like, holy crap, you know?
Well, they call it the pentameter, don't they? For Shakespeare, it's about the
Yes.
rhythmic quality of it to get to the end of that thought. But
Yeah.
a segue from that, though, which I'm really excited about, if you're a fan of Rhys Ahmed, is Hamlet.
Yes.
Is like an action kind of thriller drama.
Mm.
And yeah, Rhys Ahmed is at the helm of that. And yeah, it's the play Hamlet, but
Yes.
set.
I'm a really big fan of Rhys Ahmed, and I want to see that movie because it's set contemporary, but it's in
Yeah, it's in, oh God, where is it? I want to say like Bangladesh or something, or.
yeah. And I think I saw an interview with him, and I think this is what he said. Correct me if I'm wrong, or like apologies if I'm wrong, but I think he's the first like actor of Asian descent to play Hamlet in the leading role.
100%, yeah.
But I really like Riz Ahmed. I love that he like just goes out and does things. Like he just makes things happen for himself, which is like what everyone has to do. That's not an exclusively minority experience, you know. But like it's just so amplified for, you know, minorities such as Riz Ahmed, you know. But like obviously that man's an Oscar winner, you know what I mean? Like he went out
Yeah.
and he made a short film and he's got an Oscar for a short film and he raps. And like yeah, I really like Riz Ahmed. So you know, again, Riz, if you're watching, I'm a big fan. So
I've got a lot of love for Riz.
I love the passion you speak about things, Rhys. Like you can tell that it's not just a film you've watched and you quite liked. It's really kind of hits you hard. You know, I think that's lovely to hear the way you speak about films.
thank you.
Have you seen Bait, the new Riz Ahmed series on Prime? I've got one
Oh
episode left to watch. It's phenomenal.
no, I haven't seen it because I'm actually like I don't watch a lot of television. Like I watch the television all the time, mostly movies, occasionally baseball and things like that. But like there's just something about TV series. And like man, I'm gonna slam the TV now. So I'm just I'll account drop on RBW as soon as this
There's
episode
going to be
comes
a
out.
lot of hate mail after this episode.
Yeah. I mean, it's all engagement, guys. That's why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But I don't watch a lot of TV because like I just I love film. You know, like what I want to watch is film. So I will watch some series, but I get recommended a lot, so you know, don't watch it. But like Riz Ahmed is certainly cause enough to watch something. You know, so
Yeah,
but I'm not
Riz Ahmed will turn you to TV. He will
it's
turn you.
different. It's different. It's called Bait, and
Yeah.
you know how there was a big rumor
Debate.
mill that he was going to play James Bond a while ago.
Yeah.
So he's basically doing that. He's basically playing him, not his real self, but a version of himself. where he goes to audition for James Bond and he doesn't get it, but he pretends to walk past the paparazzi outside or trying to catch people going for the auditions. So he creates a buzz for himself, but it's comedic, but it's very dark in places. It's got, like, Drew, hasn't it? It's got a lot of range, hasn't it? It goes
God, yeah. It's
really light to really dark really quickly.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of one takes and stuff like that. So it is cinematic. It is visually, especially that scene when they're in the club looking for that neon backpack. There's like loads of people in a neon club and stuff. There's a lot. It's like 25-minute, 30-minute episodes. So
they're easily digestible, man. It's really yeah.
And also, like, it sounds very much like the realization of what I was saying then, that, like, Riz Ahmed just makes things happen for himself.
100%.
And now Riz Ahmed made a show about Riz Ahmed making things happen for himself, you know?
Yeah.
So
And someone was commenting, I don't know if it's true or not, because Prime have actually got the rights for James Bond, they could make that. Whereas I think there might have been rules against making something about a character unless you have permission.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think of that, because that wouldn't exist on Netflix or Disney because they don't have the rights to Bond. So, wow.
Yeah, so like if it was a character that was like Bond, fine, but because he's naming Bond and it's about Bond and they take the piss out of Bond.
Yeah.
Because he's like high and mighty about stuff, and it's like,
well, they mentioned Sean Connery and
a film that advertises watches and cars, right? It's just a
yeah.
I mean, like, I'm fully on board with the Riz Ahmed should be James Bond thing. And obviously, if that doesn't happen, and I don't want to perpetuate a stereotype that minorities should play the villains, but, like, I can really see Riz Ahmed as a Bond villain if he's not going to be playing Bond, you know? So, you know, Amazon, I know you're listening to, along with Riz Ahmed and Chris Nolan and Tom Cruise and everyone else. So, like, please, if we can get a little story by credit for the Riz Ahmed casting as the Bond villain, that'd be great.
Well, the running joke in the series is that he goes, "Is that Dev Patel?" Just like people. Other person.
Yeah,
but then you go, "Oh, it's not Dev Patel. That was too short."
But wait, hang on. Talking of Dev Patel, did you see Monkey Man?
I did, yes. Yeah.
Man, I thought that was. What were your thoughts on that?
Because he directed that as well, didn't he? So
he broke his hand, dude, as well. He broke his hand and had to get the bones fixed. Yeah, during again going back to lockdown briefly, but he had to be flown out to a hospital, get his hand fixed, but still doing some of those sequences with like a screw they had to put into his hand to get the bones to stay together while he does the rest of the film.
So he was like writing and directing and acting, but he was basically a stunt performer as well, I guess. But a real, like, excuse me, I really like that movie. Really, like, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's like, it's like John Wick, but in I think it was
Indian, it was,
of the choice that he made to, like, it's really sparse and terse on the dialogue, isn't it? It's like it's not like this. Not that John Wick is necessary, because especially I think there's that thing, isn't it? Like the word count for John Wick as each those.
He made it 100 because at one point, I think in John Wick 4, he started charging them an obscene amount of money per like word, and they were like,
really?
okay, like, but on purpose because he didn't want to speak. He said it made the character more interesting when he doesn't speak, which is true. He's not trying to make more money because he didn't need the money, and he's not that kind of person. He's just listen, I don't want any words. It's going to make the film better. If you give me words, I'm going to charge you more. And they're like, okay, we'll remove all the words. He's like, good, it's going to work better.
Films got longer as the scripts got shorter.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's almost like a 4-hour kind of like music video with just pure violence, and it's like
I love
we're up for it.
I'm a very big fan, which is like, I'm not really a massive action guy. Talking about like Top Gun earlier, that's probably another reason why I didn't love Top Gun. But like, there's just something about John Wick that apart from the scene where the dog gets killed, which like is one of those scenes where I literally can't look at the screen. That aside, I love basically every single minute of those 4 films.
Yeah. Well, it's that world, isn't it? That world of hitmen, and like they're all in a hotel and they're all on different missions, and they owe each other a debt and the coins.
But like, obviously, it sounds terrible until you watch it, and it's because it's a visual medium. It's not about anything else.
It's like one of the
bullets, the suit though, and like you can just like shake out bullets, and it's like
what a load of rubbish
behind it, like this. And it's one of those things. And I found this was something I found in Project Hail Mary as well. The scene with the astrophage, And like whilst I was, because I love space, as you can probably tell, big fan of what I like to call space shit. That's my favorite genre. That's my comfort genre. You know,
It's a jam.
yeah.
Space Jam,
Space
not
Jam.
Space Jam.
Yes.
Space
Love
Jam.
Space Jam. Really love Space Jam. I think it might actually be the greatest movie ever made. But anyway, back to Project Hail Mary. The scene with the astrophage, and I've since found out that they did that scene when it goes like infrared and all the particles go past Ryan Gosling's face.
Yeah.
That was done practically, which adds to it now. Because in the theater, I was like, as that happened, I was like, right, I see what you're trying to do. I know that I'm sort of being emotionally manipulated, or like you're just trying to play on the fact that people love space and that space is a very cinematic location. But like, fair play, you know. And then when I found out that it was practical, even more so, and it's very similar with John Wick. Like you look at it, like you said, on the surface, like it seems a bit like, you know, roll your eyes sort of thing, cheesy action. But then you watch it and it's like, no, holy hell, you're actually doing it, you know.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, that film nailed absolutely everything. All
mean,
that emotional, but in the light-hearted comedy, but it was believable at the same time. It was just like I say, some of the emotion. It wasn't forced. It wasn't like, oh, there's a sad moment, even though there was some. It's that the scope of the visual was enough just to give you an emotional reaction without anything being said or done. Just so beautifully done.
I love how they keep raising the bar with the John Wick. So like having a fight on 5 motorbikes.
Back onto John Wick.
Well, that's what you just said briefly, wasn't it?
Hail Mary.
Yeah, I mean,
No, I know, but
Project Hail Mary.
Yeah.
No, I know you. Like, I know on both fronts. Like you know, I don't think John Wick has quite got the emotional gravitas of Project Hail Mary.
I agree. There's no rocks in jeopardy.
No, they're not. You know, and you know, that's crazy, isn't it?
John Wick had a pebble in his pocket. It might have been more emotional.
Don't touch my pebble. Don't touch.
There's going to be a John Wick Project Hail Mary crossover, maybe. But the one thing that I love, that like what you're saying then about Project Hail Mary is, and the emotional connection is like how long they are. Because like it's a 2-hour and 36-minute movie or whatever. And like also, like, I don't know if you remember, before the film came out, people were like, there was that whole thing online, that discourse on like this movie is so long. I'm like, guys, 2 hours and 36 minutes is not that long, really, you know. But that's a whole nother debate. But there's that whole section in the middle where it's just, I think it's like 40 to 45 minutes where it's just Grace and Rocky just getting to know each other. And like the fact that they allowed the film that much time for those two to like get to know each other, and then for us as an audience to get to know them, paid off in the end, obviously, you know. And for 2 hours and 36 minutes, I don't think you could really say that there was a minute wasted in that film. So yeah.
Well, Rhys,
you needed it.
I bought the book because I want even more time with Rocky and Grace. So I don't know if you've bought the book yourself yet, the Andy Weir book.
No, I was gifted the book just before the movie came out. But I'm very much, I don't know if this is going to be controversial as well, but I prefer to watch a film before reading the book.
Sure,
but that's
100%.
Yeah, it's not like a lazy thing. So I think sometimes when people hear that, they think, oh, you just want to have like the built-in imagery. It's not that. It's literally the stone cold fact that I just love movies so much that obviously I'm going to go movie first.
Yeah.
But I now have the book, and it is my next book to read, and I'm really excited to see like how that translates to the page, even though it's actually the other way around. But
that's
so
an interesting
man.
point, because
So
watching it that way round, which is what most people call the wrong way round, actually does make sense, because you've now seen Ryan Gosling doing that. Now you can read the book and imagine him. I know that ruins it for the people who want to use your own imagination, but if you use your own imagination in a book that you know is a film, then you've created an entirely different human. So you're going to be disappointed or confused by Ryan Gosling, and that rock's not the way I thought it would be. Everything would annoy you, whereas at least you've visually seen it. You can put it into the book.
About Rocky, you know, like I'd like to see what people who read the book first, I like to see what they thought Rocky looked like before the film, you know?
That'd be amazing if they drew a version of what they think he is, and then they see what he actually is.
Well, Andy Weir's consulted on it. Andy Weir's like had final cut on these things, you know. They've not just made a random rock and gone, that's what you're getting. He wrote it. He's like, it needs to be like this. So they've done it like this.
I thought they nailed it, but obviously that's coming from someone who's only seen the movie. But I thought Rocky was perfect, and I think that's like and like, is he? I'm pretty sure he's a practical effect as well, right?
Yeah. He's a puppet.
I can see Rocky coming out on stage at the Oscars next year. I feel like that's a thing that's going to happen.
I said this. I thought James Ortiz could go up for Best Supporting Actor, man, because his performance is insane.
I thought that was a bit far, but Yeah.
I mean, this is the thing though. Like, like you talk about the Oscars and like who they do and who they don't recognize. They never. It was like the Zoe Saldana thing in the first Avatar. Like they don't really recognize motion capture and they don't recognize voice acting. So like maybe there's something to be said for they keep adding Oscar categories. And I love the Oscars. I know they're flawed, but I love them. I don't like this best casting Oscar because it feels a little bit like giving the agents a pat on the back, and I don't know what we're doing. But obviously they're adding stunt performance.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe there's something to be said for like a voice performance Oscar as well, because like it's not just animation anymore, is it? It's things like Project Hail Mary, So it's such a and like voice actors get SAG membership and things like this. Well, it's not called SAG anymore, I don't think, but you know what I mean? Like it's become so important in the industry, and you get like actors doing voice performances, like Super Mario. You got Anya Taylor-Joy and stuff. Whereas there's the whole debate. Maybe it should have been like the original Mario should have voiced him and everything. But like my point is that like it's becoming more and more important all the time, voice acting. So why is there not some sort of voice acting Oscar? I don't know. Again, the Academy, if you're watching, there it is.
Andy Serkis, like with Gollum and stuff, it's like a voice transforms the character and the kind of how they get into it. Like the same with the Planet of the Apes movies as well. It's like that. There's such skill behind that and such a craft that I completely agree.
I rely on about 10 of those films coming out in 1 year to warrant an award.
I suppose there is that, isn't there? But like it's sort of like what we were saying about Tony Collette earlier, isn't it? It's like the physicality and the emotionality were like hand in hand, and like you were saying then about Andy Serkis as Gollum, there it is again. Andy Serkis as Gollum, like the voice work is informing the physicality and vice versa, And maybe we're taking it for granted how, no pun intended, how in conversation these different facets of acting are, But
I was thinking the reason why we're so invested in Rocky and why it breaks our hearts at a particular moment is because of James Ortiz. He creates such a wonderful kind of empathetic element to the character, but also the way the story's built up, where they talk about the two different environments will kill them. And they have to risk it in order to save that. Their friendship is just so beautiful, man. It's so powerful.
Yeah. And I mean, with the voice thing as well, there's even a whole moment in the movie, isn't it, where they're trying to like get the voice right sort of thing, which is like sort of, I don't know how deliberate a metaphor that is for like how important getting the voice right was, but like the proof is literally right there on the screen,
Yeah.
I mean, and we've said it before, but it's well documented that he wasn't meant to be the actual voice. He's just the guy holding the puppet, and they had chemistry, and he was going to just talk over, and then someone was going to do the voice afterwards. But they just got on so well and bounced off each other that the voice was perfect, that they all agreed that the puppet controlling guy should be the voice as well.
Instead of James Earl Jones, it's like
there's one of those in Interstellar as well, isn't it? One of the two robots is voiced by the puppeteer, I guess you'd call it, because they were like, I don't know if it's Tars the main one or if it's Case the one who's up on the ship, but one of the two is again, and like I know they're possibly not quote unquote voice artists, but like there's another advert for it there that like sometimes what you do in the first instance is what's most important, because how often do you hear about roles being recast or reshoots ruining a film, and there's proof of it right there again,
But that's fascinating actually if you think about it, because they do chemistry tests where you've got the love interest and the kind of protagonist or whatever, and the two are supposed to come together, and do we believe that they love each other? You've got the same kind of thing with Rocky and Grace, because it's like, how is that chemistry going to come across on screen? And like you just said, the fact that they had such a great rapport on set, that they're probably sitting back going, well, why the hell doesn't James just do this? Because James and Ryan are getting on so well. Like, let them go on that journey as those characters. And
like he was ad-libbing, he was feeding them lines that wasn't in the script, and Ryan was bouncing off them and going, yep, brilliant.
I can see that, because obviously Ryan Gosling has a big comedy background, doesn't he? So I can see ad-libbing being something he really thrives with, but then it's just one of those things, and it's like, I always think, as much as I don't watch it on TV, I just think there's a certain point when a TV show has been going long enough that I think the writers are almost like method actors, in which like you could just feed them a situation and they would just know exactly what the characters would say in that scenario. So that's probably the same thing on something like Project Hail Mary. Just got to a point where like this, it's not even it's still acting, but it's like they're so immersed in the environment and everything. It's almost like it's not even there anymore. Like the camera, they're just vibing. They're just living and experiencing each other. You know.
Well, jumping off that real quick, Rhys, that's like Antoine Fuqua said that about Denzel Washington in Training Day. He said it got to the stage where we could go to a location, have a scene, and if the lines didn't work, Denzel Washington could just do it for that character.
Yeah, I can see that.
And the best moments are actually improvised. And Antoine Fuqua even said that in an interview. He said some of the best lines Denzel Washington came up with in those locations, just ad-libbing for the character.
I can see it because, I mean, obviously, number one, Denzel is incredible, but like thinking about Training Day, like, because like you hear about the Coen brothers, don't you? And they're like, their script is like everything that's in the script is what's on the screen. Like they put in, if they're doing a Minnesota or a Canadian guy, they're putting the A's in, and they want those A's there, and they don't want you to budge. Which, like, you know, there's something to be said for that. But I can't imagine, you know, the scene in Training Day at the end where he's like Jake. Like, there's no way he scripted that. Like, Jake, you know what I mean? So, like, he clearly was just at a point where he was, like, so, like, the power of I can't remember his name because it's been so long since I've seen Training Day, but is the King Kong line? Is that
improvised?
King Kong ain't got shit on me.
Yeah.
And then Ethan Hawke was, you know, everyone talks about Denzel Washington, but Ethan Hawke is phenomenal in that as well.
Man, yeah.
I mean, there's that one where they just like left him in a room with like because like a lot of the
the drug dealers in there.
The kitchen.
And he just like he didn't know that he was going to be left alone. So like that fear on his face in that scene is real, isn't it? You know?
Oh man.
But I find it really interesting that Antoine Fuqua did that, and now he's doing the Michael Jackson film. That's quite a difference of stylization and everything. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with that.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued by that movie because I don't really go in for the music biopics very often. I mean, last year I really enjoyed both the Bob Dylan and the Bruce Springsteen ones. Like, I really liked them. But generally speaking, I'm not a massive fan of the music biopics. But considering that it's an Anton Fuqua movie and how much I say how much involvement the Michael Jackson estate has had in it, that can be like a double-edged sword, can't it? Because they can be too protective.
Usually negative, yeah. They view like the Queen one. I loved the Queen one, but they kept it all positive, and which is good. You don't. It depends what you want. You know, you can have an expose or you can have a celebration. What do you want?
Can I just say my favorite one still is Rocket Man with Taron Egerton. I love that. That had me like, it reminded me of Train Spotting with its kind of like surreal dream-like elements and just like it's kind of heartbreaking, kind of, you know, how harsh it was in certain moments and how characters treated each other. And I mean, Train Spotting, Rocket Man, maybe there's a link there with the transport title of the film. But yeah, no, I was really surprised by I was surprised by Rocket Man for sure. Like, because I think that came out, that was like the year after Bohemian Rhapsody, I think, and obviously, as you were saying, there are some conflicting responses to that movie. But then I think Rocket Man wasn't afraid to be a bit more like truthful, I guess, but also not afraid to be a bit more stylistic and a bit more like cinematic, you know? Yeah, man.
But if you're talking about music biopics, the best one in recent years was Elvis by a long shot.
I was about to say Baz Luhrmann. Rocket Man felt a bit Baz Luhrmann-esque in its kind of theatrical.
I mean,
Rocket Man's here, Baz Luhrmann, Elvis is up here because the stylization.
And then Elvis, I really don't like that movie. I don't know.
Well, that's because you're wrong, and you're allowed to be wrong. Don't worry, it's not a bad thing. You can be wrong.
I turned into a Street Fighter fight, like round one, fight.
You know, what's your stance? You know, but I mean, like, I appreciate it, but like, I don't know. I think it's it's just, I think, right, and this is not me justifying it because I want to stay friendly with you, but I think it's more like that 50s America setting is not something that I super love the aesthetic of anyway on film. And I think it was between that and it was so like maximalist. And I don't hate maximalism in movies. In fact, I'm quite a big fan of it, you know. I'm trying to think, there was an example of something recently that I loved because it was so maximalist and I felt almost like hypocritical because I don't like Elvis. But it was that, and the fact that it was
Well,
super
that's another group you've just upset.
Yikes.
You're such a positive guy, Rhys. You're like the most positive person we've had on for ages. You shat on a lot of people today.
It's like the duality of man, isn't it? Like for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. For everything you love,
Mainly your own culture.
I'm just not going to tell anyone from Wales that this is coming out,
Damn it! Now he's not going to share it.
Now I'm about to chat about Tom Hanks, who I love. I love Tom Hanks, and I get this was the point of the character in Elvis, but he's so like grotesque and sweaty and disgusting, and just like that was one of the reasons why I struggle with that film, But I don't. This is not me being like I hate that movie, I didn't. I did hate. I'm not crapping on. I don't like to crap on any movie. Like this is one of the things to go back to what RVW is about. I don't necessarily want to. I prefer film appreciation to film criticism. Like I just think like, especially when you're thinking about things like clickbait and like hooks and everything, it's so easy to be negative and down, and people for whatever reason seem to like congregate towards negativity a lot more online these days. And I don't really want to contribute to that. Like, don't get me wrong. If I'm reviewing a film and I didn't like it, I'm going to say, but I always want to try and find at least one thing that I loved in the movie. And I want to try and like say why, it's about appreciation. And I think
100%.
especially in this climate we're in where cinema was struggling, I do genuinely think it's trending upwards. But I'm just a bit like, what are we doing? Where on one hand we're complaining about people not wanting to go watch movies, and then on the other hand we're like we're driving so much like criticism, and like it's the same on like Letterboxd, it's the same on X, it's the same even here on Instagram or YouTube, wherever platform you might be watching this on right now. Like it's so people love to like it's the snark, people love the snark, and I'm like, no guys, like what did we love? Tell me how you felt. Even if you didn't like it, tell me how you felt. Don't just sit there and give me a one-line review which is a joke about how crap the extra was, or how like tell me what you felt, and like I think if we did that, then I think if we do more of that, and there are people doing that, yourselves included, myself included, I like to think, like I think if we do that, then we're going to be encouraging people to watch films more.
100%, man, what you just said, because it's like we said this briefly the other day. I think if you make a short film, even try and make a 2-minute or 3-minute film, that's really hard to do. Like anyone can shit on a film, but it's like 2 hours and 37 minutes or whatever the length is. But the amount of effort and all of the different skilled artists behind the scenes, they're not even seeing. They're only seeing potentially the characters. But all of the people that it takes, it's like, what's that saying? It takes a whole village to make a such and such. I've probably butchered that. It takes a town to make a village.
It takes a whole village to raise a child.
It takes a whole village to raise a child. Yeah, that's even better. But and that movie is like the child that people are just slapping. They're just going up to the child in the street and slapping it without even having a decent understanding of what the child is doing.
Turned an analogy into child abuse.
It's such a weird analogy. But I mean, don't be harsh to films.
Yes.
They're there for the entertainment part. Like, do you know what I mean?
I don't know if this is something that I've read or...
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what we've been saying.
Every movie is a miracle,
That's beautiful, man. That should be a T-shirt, dude.
Every movie is a miracle.
I don't think that. I'm pretty sure I've read that somewhere, but like, if let's just edit this to make it seem like I just literally on the spot came up with every movie is a miracle.
Just have that on a T-shirt, man. I want to see that on your next review.
I get criticized sometimes because I'm too positive about films because I don't give them that harsh ratings. It needs to be proper dog poo to be like. I just looked at my reviews for this year. It's mainly 4s and 5s. I've got a few 3s. My lowest review is 2.5 out of 5, and that was the film How to Make a Killing, which was pretty dire but had some fun moments.
Real bummer ending on that movie for sure.
You are?
The ending to that movie, not in the conventional sense, but a real bummer ending. Like the way who we ended up with, I was just like, man, what have we been doing for the last 2 hours if that's the outcome, And like maybe that's realistic or whatever. I'm like, no, Jessica Henwick, man. Go with Jessica Henwick. I mean, she left him, not the other way around, but
Yeah. But also Glenn Powell was not that convincing in the role. He's charismatic, but that was not that just
and I really like Glenn Powell, but
Same. I just didn't think it worked.
one of our co-hosts, James, who's not with us this evening, but he has this strange thing that if you give a film 4 or 5 stars, it means that that's the best film you've ever seen. But he doesn't realize that it's for individual ratings of your experience of said film, not that you're matching it to something you loved 20 years ago. Every film has the right to be within a 1 or a 5 star or a 10 star, however you do it. And like you said, there are elements of something you can love in a film, even if the acting was terrible, the cinematography might be amazing, or the sounds, the score. It's like there's so many aspects that you can still love. And I think the idea of just completely calling a film crap because you can just write that and you control a film, but go and make one, man, and see how harsh it is.
Even rating films is a bit harsh, but I gave the drama 5 out of 5 because I thought that was perfect for the type of film it is. But I'm not comparing that to Goodfellas, which is one of the greatest films ever. Same rating, they're not on a par.
I used to be really anti-film ratings because of like some sort of version of what you're saying now is that like, you know, but it was more like a 5-star comedy is different to a 5-star horror. So the fact that there was just a one-size-fit-all rating scale was something that I struggled with. But like, it's like you said, it's like, you know, it doesn't, like, I am quite precious about giving out 5 stars, but that's just of a personal thing. That's just because like I like to have a canon of 5-star films, you know, and usually 4.5 is as high as I'll go on a first watch. But it's not out of any kind of like it has to be the greatest film I've made to get that rating. It's just a bit like, number one, I don't want to be reactionary, but also it's just like, if you are comparing a film to everything, to a version of everything, it's just like everything within its niche. But then so many films these days occupy so many different niches at the same time that eventually you just got to get over yourself and just be like, no, you're depriving yourself of a very crucial part of modern movie watching and modern movie criticism by not giving ratings. So just get over yourself and just think to yourself, what did I feel? Again, tell me how you felt and let the rating reflect that more than anything else.
Definitely. I just looked at my page of my films that I watched in 2025. I've written them all down, the ones just purely in the cinema. And the ones that are highlighted yellow are the 5 out of 5 ones. So I could do a top 10.
Yeah.
And I've highlighted 8 films that I gave a perfect scoring for last year. This year, it's only just April, and I've done 6 5 out of 5s. So this has been a strong year in quality.
Hamnet was a first watch 5-star for me as well. So like, you know, we go into what I said about not giving 5 stars on the first watch. Hamnet, I was like, it's undeniable. Like it is perfect, you know.
Yeah,
I also love.
I've just checked. 3 of them are actually music biopics, not biopics, but like a Jeff Buckley documentary, Paul McCartney documentary,
I saw
Elvis documentary.
Epic, you had a Jeff Buckley one which did like some really great numbers.
Incredible film. So it was beautiful.
Yeah. I also love to see that you're a handwriting notebook guy as well, because I handwrite everything first. You know, so whenever you're watching an RVW, it's gone from like unreadable, post game illegible. Thank you so much. It's gone from illegible post game thoughts to like a handwritten 4 pages in my notebook to a digital draft, and then here we are. But I'm glad that you're also a notebook guy, because you know,
that's my film one and the podcast one.
Yeah, I mean, I've got one here, but like I've got, you know, there it is. That's some better handwriting. But like, yeah, there's notebooks everywhere here, because like I said, I handwrite everything. So I'm happy that we share that. But surely that makes up for the Elvis thing a little bit.
You guys are like notebook brothers.
Love it.
We are, yeah. We need to. I don't know if you saw those posters for Project Hail Mary, where they were recreating Ryan Gosling posters with Grace and Rocky, and they did one for the Notebook. So maybe someone out there should Photoshop a Rhys and Kev Notebook poster.
That's beautiful. A poster of you two holding your notebooks like that.
Yeah. It's not even like we're not holding each other; we're holding our notebooks, like you know.
I don't judge if you don't like the same film as me. It's fine.
And after this episode, you're going to get sponsorship from notebooks now. So you've redeemed yourself, Rhys.
Yeah, you know, I've been shouting out Riz Ahmed and Amazon and the Academy, but it's actually the notebooks is where it's at. So it's big notebook. If you're watching, like, hook me up for real, because like I burned through so many notebooks that if you could like bring my notebook budget down, I'd
Of
be
all
very
the
grateful.
things we'd like to get sponsored by or get
but there's some
chance of
really
doing,
cool.
like being an actor in a film or being a bit part.
Yeah, but Matthew
We're talking about
McConaughey
notebooks.
is advertising notebooks now. Like, it's a big thing, man. They're getting men into journaling. It's a big
Yeah.
switch in
I
the
don't want
world.
to judge, but I'm pretty sure everyone in this room can afford to buy a notebook. But none of us are in films or
Yeah,
give us a part in a film.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. As a
That-
new
obviously
movies.
self-sustaining, so let's bring the RVW notebook budget down.
People get paid in notebooks to be in your movie.
Yeah, it's still, people like to talk about, people like to call money paper, so we're still getting paid in paper,
You're
So,
getting that paper, man. You're getting that
exactly.
paper.
My money don't jiggle jiggle, it folds. My notebook don't jiggle jiggle, it folds.
And then instead of Jerry Maguire, it's show me the paper.
Show me the paper.
the paper.
I was just trying
Again,
to think of the next line. It's like wiggle, wiggle, wiggle for sure. What is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My money don't. Now you're getting me to sing. This is the whole thing, isn't it?
That was it. Got you.
My money don't jiggle jiggle, it folds. I like to see you wiggle wiggle.
Folds,
Right?
you know.
You really ought to see it. I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. I see you in my. What was it? Is it Prius? What car is it?
Is it
No.
right? Not Fiat. It's a Fiat. Right in my Fiat. Really ought to see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom.
Louis Theroux. What a
Mic
master.
drop. Mic
Honestly, of all the things I've said in this podcast which are damaging to my public image, I think trying to rap like Louis Theroux might have been the worst one.
That is definitely going to be a clip then. So be prepared.
Wait to share that one. When you're like, "Hey, mum, I'm on the telly," I'd be like, "Look at this," and she, like,
So
What
proud
are
of
you
you.
doing? What are you doing?
that one has all been.
Yeah, but amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. I know it's taken up a bit longer than we were planning on, but yeah, no, appreciate you hanging out, man.
I wondered
Thank
if
you.
you could do a 3-minute review of this episode for us.
Absolutely, why not? I've been taking notes as we're talking. You might not have seen it, but I've been scrolling. Why do you think the notebook was so close? Like, I was.
That's why he's good at doing it in the dark. He's just writes like that while he's watching a film. Doesn't
He
even have
eats
to look
enough
at
carrots to see in the dark. So
Exactly.
but it is illegible. So
Yeah. So
can't-
don't try.
You can't spell or pronounce illegible, but it is illegible.
Ironic that the word I struggled most to say was ill. I can't even do it now, so I'm just going to leave it there.
It's all right. Drew can't spell dyslexia, so that's
I know.
Well, I mean, that's a cruel word. Why would you make a word so difficult to spell for people who have difficulty to spell?
Thank
yeah.
you, dude. I 100%.
I'm not saying I
agree.
can spell it either, but it was relevant. Yeah. Anyway, well, thank you very much, Rhys, for joining us, and
Thank you very
share some clips. So I'll let you know when everything goes out. So
Awesome.
thank you very
Nice.
much for joining us.
Legend.
All the
Thank
way
you.
from Wales, the
All
country
the way.
that is 500 yards away from my front door.
He came to Wales to be on Rage Whale. So
Rage Wales.
Rage
That's-
Wales.
That's the clip. I know the slogan. Rage Wales podcast. Let's go.
yeah,
How did
was your
we not
calling,
think of that
Rhys.
till the very end, Drew?
it
Or
was
have
your
you been
calling.
sitting
No,
on
I was
that?
thinking about it. I was like, it was Rhys's calling.
Yeah, there's something there.
Fantastic. All
Something
right.
under
Well,
the-
thank you very
under the
much, man.
surface.
We'll speak to you again soon.
Okay. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Nice one.
This has been Rage Whale. Thanks for hanging out with us. We hope you had a whale of a time.
Thank you all for your continued support, and please do check out our other fun episodes with many great and interesting guests. And just to let you know, we're also on YouTube if you want to also watch us. But do give us a follow on Instagram and TikTok, and we'd love a cheeky 5-star rating on here if you had a moment. And if you do want to support us further, we do have merch. The links are here and on our socials. It's ragewhale.tmill.com. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.